The last lecture was polycystic kidney disease, which was, I said, it was important from exam point of view. This glomerular disease is a general thing. This is a basic learning process which will then enable you to understand the future lectures, like is acute glomerulonephritis, chronic glomerulonephritis, other glomerular diseases which will be taught individually. Now, this is a general lecture about the glomerular structure as well as the various diseases affecting the glomerulus and the various morphological manifestation in the glomerulus under microscope, electron microscope, immunofluorescence. So that is this lecture. So if you understand that, it will be easier for you to understand the previous the next two lectures. Now you have been taught glomerular structure.
Yes, sir.
Then it's easier. This is a normal kidney. You know already 150 gram weight, cortex medulla and all that. This is a nephron which includes the tubules and collecting duct and glomerulus. This is a cut section of a glomerulus. You see these are the, glomerulus is in the Bowman capsule. So there will be lining of Bowman capsule also. That is a visceral lining. This is a epithelial visceral lining of the glomerulus. This is a basement membrane, and there is an endothelial lining of this. So in between endothelial lining and epithelial lining, there is a basement membrane, and in between the capillary loops is the mesangium. That is it contains the macrophages and other things plus loose connective tissue. And all this slit and all that you must have been taught there are pores. Now this is a representation of one single glomerulus. See that this is a parietal epithelium, that is outer side of the glomerular Bowman capsule. This is a visceral, that is which is surrounding the capillary loop. This is a red one is basement membrane. This is endothelium, which is a perforated. I told you primary glomerular disease and secondary, which are result of systemic. Now clinical, okay. Clinical manifestation of glomerular disease are acute nephritic syndrome, nephrotic syndrome, rapidly progressive glomerulonephritis, acute renal failure, chronic renal failure, asymptomatic or isolated proteinuria, asymptomatic or isolated hematuria. So these are the various clinical manifestations that you will be taught next lecture. What is acute nephrotic, what is the difference between two, what is acute renal failure. All these will be taught in subsequent lecture. Now mechanism of glomerular energy, you must understand this etiopathogenesis, which will be taught, which will be in all the coming. Most of the diseases are immune mediated. Most primary and some secondary glomerular diseases are all immune mechanism is involved, and two types of immune mechanism is involved. That is antigen antibody complex formed in circulation and deposited in glomeruli. Circulating immune complexes deposited in glomeruli. The second one is antibody reacting with antigen in the glomeruli, which are fixed antigen or which are planted antigen. Fixed antigen are part of the glomerular, that is basement membrane, and those which are extrinsic molecules which are planted, they are from outside, that is DNA molecule, bacterial part, viral component, parasitic component. All those can get fixed from the outside into the glomerulus and antibody reacts against them. So there are two mechanisms. One is immune complex, which is circulating immune complex in the blood, and it is deposited in the glomerulus, that is filtered, and the glomerular is secondary involved. It is bystander. The second is immune complex formed in situ in the glomeruli, that is antibody reacting to an intrinsic antigen in the glomerulus, that is basement membrane, or extrinsic antigen which is there, and antibody is reacting to that, and this extrinsic molecule is either a viral part or it is a bacterial part or a parasitic or something DNA, that is SLE. So that is a antibody mechanism, immune complex and antibody reacting to in situ as well as planted antigen in the glomerulus. Now once antigen and antibody complexes are formed in situ or circulating deposited in the glomerulus, their complement is fixed there and that is activated, and then it leads to recruitment of leukocyte, and this damage is to the glomerulus is caused by the complement and inflammatory cells, like any other place. Any immune complex disease, the same mechanism is there. And glomerular lesion consists of leukocyte infiltration, that is called exudation, into glomeruli, and proliferation of endothelial cells, mesangial cells, and parietal epithelial cells. As I told you, those Bowman capsule has got a epithelial and visceral epithelial and parietal epithelial. So proliferation of parietal epithelial cell, endothelial cell, mesangial cell, and leukocyte. So this is a antibody-mediated mechanism of glomerular injury. One is immune complex formation deposited from circulation. The other one is immune complex form in the glomerulus, either by circulating, either by antibody to the intrinsic component of the glomerulus, or antigen, which is intrinsic component of the glomerulus, or antigen which is fixed from outside. That is extrinsic antigen. That is, I told you, part of virus, bacteria, parasite, DNA. So all these are the immune mechanism of glomerular injury. Now next is other mechanism of antibody injury is anti-nuclear cytoplasmic, anti-neutrophilic cytoplasmic antibody. This is seen will be in rapidly progressive glomerulonephritis. This ANCA. When we'll be talking vasculitis, we'll be talking of vascular pathology. That is in the same. You have been taught that, I think, ANCA, cardiovascular system of health. So ANCA induced glomerular injury, and then antibody against podocyte. Podocyte, those epithelial cells have got pores, that foot process, that is called podocyte, as well as antibody against the messenger cells. So this is a antibody-mediated injury. Next is cell-mediated, that is CD4 cells. They recruit macrophages and CD8 cell and natural killer cell that cause glomerular injury. So this is the mechanism of immunological injury to the glomerulus. One is antibody-mediated, the other one is cell-mediated. Cell-mediated is not that important. It is seen only in the case of minimal change disease of nephrotic syndrome. There this cell-mediated injury has been hypothesized. Now, main thing is antibody-mediated, that is immune complex, and antibody acting against the intrinsic component of the basement membrane or glomerular, and extrinsic antigen fixed to the glomerular, that is basement membrane, and antibody reacting to that. So that is the mechanism we must have. Ultimate aim is the formation of immune complex. And then complement fixation, which will activate leukocyte accumulation, and they both will damage the glomerular apparatus. Now, what are the diagnostic features? Light microscopic features are there for diagnosis of glomerular disease: immunofluorescence and electron microscopy. These three will be taught in every individual case. So what are the light microscopic feature you see in glomerulus, in the glomerular disease? One is hypercellularity, that is increased number of cells in the glomerular tract. That may be because of leukocyte infiltration, that is neutrophil, monocyte, and some disease lymphocyte, or cellular proliferation of mesangial endothelial cell, as I told you previously. And the second is formation of crescent. The crescent is that proliferation of those parietal epithelial cells leads to the formation of moon-shaped accumulation of the epithelial cell, that is called crescent. That is an indication of more damage to the basement membrane and more leakage of fibrin. So that will be seen in rapidly progressive glomerulonephritis. So that is first is hypercellularity, then crescent. This is hypercellularity. See all this, the glomerula has become large and there are a lot of cells in that. And that includes leukocyte, mesangial cell, endothelial cells. And this is a parietal cell proliferation. This is Bowman capsule. This is glomerulus. This is a visceral part. And this parietal epithelium proliferates and forms a crescent-like, moon-like structure. This is called crescent. So these are the two morphological features. Then third is basement membrane thickening. This is a basement membrane thickening is caused by deposition of amorphous electron dense material. Most often it is immune complex on the endothelial or epithelial side of the basement membrane, or this amorphous electron dense material is deposited within the basement membrane itself. At times amyloid, that is amyloidosis, or bioglobulins, they are all are in multiple myeloma. That myeloma proteins, they are also deposited in the basement membrane. So these things will lead to the basement membrane thickening. That is another morphological abnormality you can see under the microscope. So you can see these are the basement membrane thickening. This you can see thick, this basement membrane thickening. Then hyalinidasis, that is the hyalinization of the glomeruli. It may be plasma protein or insulated from the circulation in glomerular structure. So accumulation of homogeneous eosinophilic material, which is seen in the light microscopy, that is a hyalinization. See, these are the hyaline deposit in the glomerular. Then sclerosis means fibrosis of the glomeruli, accumulation of extracellular collagenous matrix and mesangium. So this is sclerosis. See, the glomeruli are all sclerosed, fibrosed. Now, morphological changes. These morphological changes in light microscopy are divided further into diffuse involvement, focal involvement. When we talk of diffuse glomerulonephritis, means it involves almost all the glomeruli, or at least more than 50% of glomeruli are affected by the disease. When we use the focal glomerulonephritis, it means that involvement of only a portion of glomeruli, not all, less than 50%, but some of the glomeruli are involved. When you use the global glomerulonephritis, it means that one complete glomerulus is involved. And when you use the segmental, that is affecting a part of the glomerulus. So you must know this word: diffuse proliferative glomerulonephritis, focal glomerulonephritis, global involvement, segmental involvement. So these are the various terms used when we describe those diseases. You will come to know in subsequent lectures. See, this is diffuse. All the glomeruli are hyalinized. So diffuse and global. This is diffuse and global. All are proliferative. This is a proliferative glomerulonephritis, that is streptococcal. See, this is a focal and segmental. This glomerulus is not involved. This glomerulus is involved when there is a segmental involvement of this, not the whole glomerulus. So this is a focal involvement when one glomerulus is involved, and that part of the glomerulus, that is focal and segmental. So this is how you. Now coming to special other investigation, that is electron microscopy. That is seen, immune complex deposition is seen as a electron dense material, that is black. And immunofluorescence immune complex deposit is seen as a granular or linear deposit, depending on the where it is deposited. So we'll be showing that. Now the term used is localization immune complex in glomerular capillary wall. So this is a epithelium, that is a part of Bowman capsule. So this is subepithelium, is below epithelium. That is in the podocytes and all that, below the epithelial cell. Intramembranous means this is in the basement membrane. And subepithelial means it is deposited below the, subendothelial means below the endothelium. Now subepithelial hump is seen in acute proliferative glomeruli. Epimembranous means outside membrane, that is the epimembranous means in the membrane, that is membranous glomerulonephritis. Subendothelial deposit is seen in membranoproliferative and lupus glomerular. Mesangial deposit seen in IgA nephropathy. So this is all will be there. See, this is a one, that is a subepithelial hump. This is that is intramembranous or epimembranous. This third is subendothelial, and this is a mesangial. This black is the immune complex. So these is the showing the subepithelial, subendothelial and membranous, and in different condition, immune complex is deposited in different. This is immunofluorescence, which shows the granular. See these yellowish spot, they are granular, they are not continuous. So these are the immune complexes. So these are the morphological feature of various glomerular diseases. So that is, we have finished the today's lecture, and subsequent lecture will be taught individual diseases. That is the first one will be acute proliferative or post-streptococcal glomerulonephritis, then rapidly progressive glomerulonephritis, then there will be membranoproliferative, membranous, all those things will be subsequent. And all what I have told you, this will be seen in all those conditions which I have mentioned. In some there will be something, in the others it will be something. So this is a general lecture about the glomerular disease. That is, etiopathogenesis is more important. That is, it is antibody mediated mostly. maybe T cell mediated, but antibody mediated is immune complex that is formed in circulation, deposited in the glomerulus, or anti-immune complex formed in the glomerulus itself, either against the intrinsic part of the glomerulus, that is an antigen present in the glomerulus itself, that is in basement membrane, or the antigen is planted, that is deposited in the glomerulus or basement membrane from outside. That is a part of viral particle, part of immunoglobulin, part of the bacteria, part of the DNA, and antibodies produce an immune complex formation. So, main mechanism is immune complex formation, either in the glomerulus or deposited from the outside, and then complement is deposited, and then activation of complement leads to the recruitment of leukocyte, which causes the damage to the glomerulus. So that is the etiopathogenesis. And then I told you various morphological abnormality seen in light microscopy, seen in electron microscopy, seen in fluorescent microscopy. Electron microscopy, you will find electron dense material in the either subepithelial layer or subendothelial layer or intramembranous layer or epimembranous part. I told you what is epimembranous, what is subepithelial, what is in subendothelial. Below endothelium is called subendothelial. Below epithelium is called, basement membrane. Below is the endothelium. Outside is epithelium. And then inside the membrane. So that is electron. And similarly, immune complexes is also seen in the immunofluorescence. That is, if it is a glandular, it is immune complex. And if it is a linear, it is in the membrane. That is not an antibody directly deposited. And then I told you various light microscope features, that is hypercellularity, then hyalinization, crescent formation, then sclerosis, membrane thickness, that basement membrane thickness. So these are the various light microscope feature, then electron microscopic feature, and then immunofluorescent feature. And then I also told you that what are the main diseases of glomerulus. That is a primary disease which involves glomerulus primarily, and secondary diseases, that is when systemic disease involves the glomerulus, that is called secondary glomerular disease, and primary glomerular disease. Okay, manifestation I told you will be taught again: acute nephritic syndrome, nephrotic syndrome, then acute renal failure, chronic renal failure, then asymptomatic proteinuria, asymptomatic hematuria. All those are clinical manifestations of glomerular disease. So this is today's lecture was general. From tomorrow you will find individual diseases, and if you know this, you will be able to understand those things better. Okay, any question?
Sir, will you please show the slide of primary and secondary causes of glomerular disease?
Any disease any book you will find. Don't worry. Okay. Again, this will come again. You will be taught in nephrotic syndrome and in glomerulonephritis. Again, same thing will be shown to you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Primary glomerulonephritis, all these are glomerulonephritis and nephritic and nephrotic syndrome you are taught. This all thing will be taught except the chronic glomerulonephritis. And then this is the systemic disease which is called the involvement of systemic SLE, diabetes, amyloidosis, PAN, HENAX. There may be other diseases also. And then hereditary, that is Alport syndrome and Fabry disease. So all these will be taught in the subsequent lecture, and it will be taken by, I think, Archana from the next time. I'll be shifting to the first year. Okay, bye-bye. Hello?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.